Hi, my name is Jess, and the topic I'll be speaking about today is gun control. The claim that I am refuting is that banning assault weapons in America will lower gun violence. My opponent's speech focused mainly on gun violence in Mexico, so my refutation will also deal with that. My refutation of this claim is that banning assault weapons in America will have little impact on the rate of gun violence in Mexico. My opponent's first claim is that assault weapons contribute to gun violence. In fact, this claim fails to take into account the significance of assault weapons' contribution to gun violence. Assault weapons have a very low contribution to gun violence in Mexico. My opponent stated a statistic that said 87% of guns taken into Mexico were brought from the U.S., and so the U.S.'s policy on assault weapons is very significant. In fact, this statistic fails to take into account that talks about all firearms, not specifically semi-automatic assault weapons. And this statistic of 87% was inaccurately calculated. After a multi-year study, the Stratford Global Intelligence, which is a global intelligence company that specializes in geopolitical reports and military analysis, released a report clarifying this 87% figure. This number was inaccurately calculated through limited and biased sampling, and the correct fully inclusive statistics show that only 12% of the total arms seized in Mexico can be traced back to the U.S. Most of Mexico's non-semi-automatic weapons are also purchased in the U.S., including the handgun most commonly used in cartel assassinations. So a ban on assault weapons in the U.S. would fail to take into account all of the other firearms that contribute to Mexico's gun violence. My opponent's second claim was that assault weapon bans have been effective in other countries. This is true, but in refutation, assault weapon bans have also been ineffective in other countries. Some examples: Colombia has outlawed automatic and semi-automatic weapons, as well as many pistols and revolvers, and the average number of gun homicides, this is excluding suicides and accidental deaths, is 15,700 per year in Colombia. In my opponent's speech, he said that Brazil is one of the countries with an assault weapons ban, but he stated that this ban has been ineffective in controlling gun violence in Brazil due to their gun culture. Germany has the Germans Weapons Act of 1972, which is one of the strictest gun control laws in the world. And Germany also has an average of 330 gun homicides per year. And these examples serve to show that while assault weapon bans can be effective, they can also be very ineffective. An assault weapons ban alone is not enough to combat gun violence and lower gun violence rates. My opponent's claim fails to hold up under scrutiny due to lack of in-depth and clarified evidence.
Did you have an outline for me?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. I just remembered since you were sitting right here. All right. All right, the advocate's claims labeled, you explained the significance issue pretty clearly. I thought the first argument that you got to, there's very good analysis on this. You've got a nice explanation about how the evidence only, actually talks about total gun violence. It doesn't specify to semi-automatic or assault weapon type guns. And then you have a very good piece of information that suggests that the original statistic that the advocate cited was miscalculated, and it substantially reduces the contribution of U.S. Guns to this, particular violence problem. I thought that was an excellent piece of research response on that particular point. And then you have, I think, a good explanation about how an assault weapons ban probably wouldn't make a difference, because you do accept some premises that other guns are likely to come from the United States. I'm not sure that you want to accept that premise, but I do think that you have a good argument showing that, look, an assault weapons ban isn't going to prevent guns from getting into Mexico, and it's certainly not going to prevent them from coming in from other places. And I think that that's leads more naturally to your second issue, which is the talk about the other countries where you make the comparisons. I do think that you've got a good counterexample here on Colombia versus Brazil, which was the advocate's example. I think you want to explain why the counterexample is important. Why, if there's some way that you could show that Colombia is more like Mexico or Mexico is more like Colombia than either of them is like Brazil, then I think that would make your argument a little bit stronger there. You talk about the German gun law. I'm not sure how it advances any argument that you're making, except in the long run it does suggest that gun laws are never going to be perfect in preventing gun violence. And I'm not sure that the advocate was making that point, but like I said, I think it kind of introduces an extraneous issue. I just thought that you had good responses to the two main arguments. You could have probably developed them a little bit more and been more extensive in the analysis, but what you had was very good. All right, thank you.